how's it going? Thanks for coming and watching. If you are returning, I appreciate your patronage. If you are new, you probably want to learn about the gate sequencer, and I'm going to talk about it once I annoy you a little bit. I'll put some skip points in there. But again, for the returning people, you may have been the person asking for said video. But my last video hasn't had a lot of views. So after I cried about that for a few nights and contemplated some very horrid things, I went back and read the comments, and I saw that the second comment on my very, low view video was, hey, gate sequencer. Now, I did say I would do a video about the gate sequencer if people asked, but in all seriousness, a video that doesn't have a lot of views and the second comment is, hey, gate sequencer, that tells me that none of the popular videos are really answering or giving good context to that. So we are going to flip the stones over that our trail guide is not. So a gate is pretty much just your on-off voltage from, right now, the keyboard. On, off, on, off. I'm just hitting middle C. On, off. It's essentially the precursor to binary. Those are your high and lows, your zeros and ones for all of that. Like I also suggest looking into Boolean logic. Like Boolean logic is very important for understanding analog computing, really, which is, pretty much all sequencing and multi-voice things involved. So it helps you just kind of understand when you want to bring it down to here, because you can get some of that stuff going on in this device. So you have a high and low voltage that gets sent to all of your envelopes. The low voltage is just no voltage. So right now, that sends the peak voltage to your filter envelope, your amp envelope, and the auxiliary envelope. And what those envelope amounts do control, so you hit the key, and then the envelope amount allows however much of that gate to process the stages of the envelope. So it's always going to process as if it was full. It's just not going to affect the actual filter or amplifier itself to that full extent. The gate is always high. The envelope amount and your sustain are your relationship to that high level. And then also if it's a filter, your cutoff point too. So essentially, like if you have a long attack on your filter, it's taking that gate and just going like sloping the front. If you have a really long release, it's just sloping the back. So if your sustain is all the way up on an envelope, so here, you can make a gate on an envelope. You bring your attack all the way down, bring your decay all the way down, bring your sustain all the way up, your release all the way down. That envelope now, that shape, if you see it in a computer, you'll see it's just a rectangle. It's just like, oh, wow. Like that's essentially, and you crank it all the way up, essentially that parameter there is letting the 100% of the gate through into whatever envelope you're sending it into here. So 100%, 127 on your envelope amount, 0 attack, 0 decay, 127 sustain, 0 release. It doesn't matter where we put our filter. It's going all the way up. So if you just want your envelope amount to dictate that, you would leave your sustain all the way up. If you want real dynamics and things like that. Now, there are instances where you would use that parameter and use other parameters to modify your cutoff. We're not going to get into that. That's a deeper semantic conversation, and it's a little off topic. But that is essentially, you can form a gate with an envelope, or you can use a gate from your keyboard, or the gate sequencer. I hope this is making sense. All right, so we are here with the sequencer now. We are going to go into our favorite global pattern, our global setting, and number 29, and initialize our patch. We're gonna make this a mono patch. I want you to explore all of the different things in the layering and offsetting, sequencing and things, and different kind of stuff that you can get with the polyphonic things. I want you to use your imagination. Just take this information and run. We're just gonna do the mono to show you directly, simple examples. So let's tailor our sound just very quickly. I'll use it from the other takes. There we go. A little bit of envelope. And we may not hear much of this, so. We're going to get a little shape in there, just some texture, just because it's there. Cool, that's fine. Okay, so when I hit a key, I'm sending a gate to all of the envelopes. So if I'm at like 104 something BPM, that's like 16th note sequence. Like that's not, I'm not on time, but like that's essentially I am sequencing, 16th notes at 105 BPM gates to, the envelopes and the CV with the keys. So what we can do is we can go into here, and now we default at 16ths and 120 BPM, which that's fine. Sounds pretty similar to what I was doing, just faster and more accurate. So all it's doing is sending just gates to the envelopes, triggering them. So here, we'll mess with some envelope parameters. Let's change it to 8th notes. Cool. So you can start to get other kind of stuff here, really, and there's no arbitrary modulation being sent to anything yet. This is just the gate sequencing. So you can already start to see like where the possibilities of just no modulation even being sent from it and just getting the gates. And you can, it's I think this is much more hands-on than just sending a MIDI pattern, because then your MIDI patterns a MIDI pattern, like So I love MIDI. Like I have a MIDI tattoo, like stupidly, but like I love it, so I don't care. But it's much more hands-on. So let's actually like go in and program this. So we got this going, right? So let's put some modulation on something now, because we're not even, there's no voltage going anywhere yet. Let's go into here. Now, mode and destination and track are going to be like you're navigating. So we're already at destination here. Let's go to our cutoff. Let's do something straightforward. And then we're going to go, let's do something obvious. And then we're going to do a rest. You can only do rests on sequence 1, and I'm curious if that's supposed to be because the other 3 you can use as somewhat of a roll in, like a 303 kind of or emulation. I'm not exactly sure. Like, I wish you could just do all of the same parameters to all of them. I understand why the slew is only on 4 and 2, and we'll explain that. But the rests, I wish there was rests on all of them. Oh, they only have resets and then just whatever data. Then we'll go pretty high on 8, and then we'll go middle-ish on 7. So now our cutoff's down. We'll bring our key tracking down and our envelope all the way down. So the envelope's not doing anything now. Let's go to 16ths just to get... So it's going, it's stepping through those, those values, and it's stepped. So if you want to add a slew, you put a slew on the next track. You need content to slew in order to add the slew. That's why it's only on 2 and 4, because you slew 3 and 1. So and that's pretty much that's the gist of it, really. And we'll get to that. So that's not bad. That's cool. All right, whatever. Let's go back to our destination. Let's check out our track, sequencer 2. Let's put that on. You know what? Let's go to noise. Let's do something. Let's do obvious things. But noise is also a common approach. We'll bring the noise down. We'll bring the noise down as we move forward. Instead, we'll do opposite. Step 6 is a rest. We don't have rest on here, so we just have to leave it at 0 because I don't want anything there. You can actually, you know what? Let's put noise where there isn't because that'll be maybe interesting. And then low noise, and then a little bit of extra noise. Here we go. So now. So there you can kind of hear it's moving, you can clearly hear it's moving the noise around now too. So that's interesting, right? Okay, cool. Let's change our divisions. Go back to our 16ths. Cool. We'll make it a little more obvious. Kind of cool. Let's go in. We're going to go to our next destination for our track. So now what we're going to do here is now we're going to get into the note sequencing in the slew. So this is when you're going to want to be at transpose 0 and hit your lowest octave C to actually track the notes you want to be using. Otherwise, it will be playing a transposed version of that quantized voltage. So we want to go oscillator 1 frequency. And I'm just going to put, or you know what we didn't do and why we're getting different noise parameters on track 2? Check this out. We didn't reset it. So we'll go to that. And then back down to track 3. And now we have to put in our notes. So we're going to make, I'm just going to make like a major sequence or whatever. I'm not really, it's going to be an 8-note sequence. So we're going to start at the default C2 here. All right, so we got a little bit of a sequence set up. It's just the white keys. It's just 8 steps. Holding down the lowest octave, 0 transpose, lowest C. And there we go. So now you hear that, like. So it's, you have that, and it's cool. It's like, but there could be a little more character in there. So we're gonna go all the way down to track 4, and then we're gonna squeeze this all the way over to sequence slew, just like that. And now we are slewing sequence 3. So we're gonna not really slew much on the first step. Second step, we'll slew quite a little bit halfway. We'll slew a little less on the third, and then the next we will go quite a bit and bump the knob. Sequence step 5. That's technically we'll slew a bunch on there, and then we're just gonna have all the sequences be 8 steps. I don't want to get too convoluted. You can again you can mismatch and do all sorts of stuff. So now we have that slew on there. Now you hear that. So now when you hit a note on oscillator 2, it's going to play the note that you play. So the sequence is going to transpose with that note. So if you want to actually incorporate oscillator 2 now, so check this out. So you can go, let's go, just make it slower. And then we'll turn oscillator 2 on. Modulate it. This is your example here. So you have a little drone going now. So now maybe we want to modulate the pitch of oscillator 2. So here, we're going into some examples now. Frequency. Oop, I keep turning the knob a little too much today. My hand's a little. We want to key sync it. Go to 16ths. So hopefully that kind of shows you the types of things you can go with just the basic, 4-channel gate sequencer running in normal mode. So I'm going to go through here. Let's go to mode. Normal mode is essentially just going to send gates on your key press. Like when you hold that note, that's going to send a high voltage to the sequencer to say run at the division at that tempo. And that's what it's going to do. And every time you hit, it's going to start at 1 every time you hit a key. So the next mode over is no reset. So I'm just hitting keys. So the sequence isn't resetting on my key presses. It's only resetting as it's running through its own, its own time parameters. No gate only sends the gate length of that key press. So it will not trigger any of the envelopes. It will run the voltages, but it will not trigger the envelopes. So notice my sustain's all the way down, and the sound's only going to last as long as your decay stage at that point. So if your sound disappears, you're like, where'd it go? Probably due to your sustain level. So now it's just not triggering any of the envelopes. So it's just going to run the voltage. So it'll modulate what it's supposed to modulate. It's just not going to trigger your envelopes. And then we're going to go back to mode here. No gate, no reset. So this is going to run almost like it, how an LFO would, just repeating. It's just going to run and repeat based on the, the timing parameters, and it's not going to reset on your key presses, and it's not going to send any gates to your envelopes either. The next mode is key step. That only advances the sequencer on every key press that you give the keyboard. So it's only going to move forward every time you hit a key. So hopefully, that kind of makes sense. I use all of these, in different ways. I want you to use your imagination. All right, so I'm going to hit hold. I'm going to hit hold here just to... Let the envelope slew out. So there's no delay. Put another rest. I don't know why that wasn't set to reset. We must have bumped something. Let's go 16 on this. Your velocity is not really going to respond to the gates. The gates are all just 100%. The velocity is more of a source than a destination. Well, hopefully that opens a little bit of doors and your imagination will start to turn over and you can run with this information. Thank you for watching. Thank you for sitting around. Like I said, not a lot of crazy demos, just a little bit of this is what you can just do with just messing around. And that's normal mode. That's just normal mode sequencer. So, yeah, have fun. Just keep digging in. Listen, use your ears. You can do it.